The capture. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Zara Novak as she peered through the viewport of the research vessel Curiosity. Stars twinkled in the distance, their light a stark contrast to the inky blackness that surrounded them. It was moments like these that reminded Zara why she had chosen to become an exobiologist, to explore the unknown and seek out new forms of life across the galaxy. "Dr. Novak, we're approaching the anomaly," called out Lieutenant Chen from his position at the helm. "ETA 5 minutes." Zara nodded, her heart racing with excitement and a touch of trepidation. They had been tracking an unusual energy signature for weeks, following it to this remote corner of the Orion Arm. Whatever was causing the anomaly, it wasn't natural, and that meant the possibility of first contact with an alien civilization. As the Curiosity drew closer, a massive structure began to take shape against the backdrop of space. It was unlike anything Zara had ever seen, a sprawling complex of interconnected rings and spheres, pulsing with an eerie blue light. "My God," whispered Captain Rodriguez, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's beautiful." Zara couldn't help but agree, even as a sense of unease crept over her. The structure was clearly of alien origin, far beyond anything humanity had achieved in its centuries of space exploration. There was something about it that felt wrong. "Captain, I'm picking up some strange readings," reported Ensign Patel from the science station. "The energy signature is fluctuating wildly, I think." The ensign's words were cut off as a blinding flash of light erupted from the alien structure. The Curiosity shuddered violently, throwing Zara to the floor. Alarms blazed throughout the ship as systems began to fail one by one. "We're caught in some kind of tractor beam," shouted Lieutenant Chen, frantically working the controls. "I can't break free." Zara struggled to her feet, her mind racing. This wasn't first contact, it was an ambush. As the Curiosity was inexorably pulled towards the alien structure, she caught a glimpse of other ships emerging from hidden docks. They were angular and predatory, bristling with weapons. "Slavers," Captain Rodriguez spat, her face pale but determined. "Everyone, prepare for boarding. We are not going down without a fight." The next few minutes were a blur of chaos and violence. The alien slavers breached the Curiosity's hull with terrifying efficiency, pouring into the ship in waves. Zara found herself in the thick of the fighting, wielding a makeshift weapon and struggling to stay alive. But it was hopeless. The aliens were too numerous, too well armed. One by one, Zara watched her crewmates fall, some dead, others subdued and dragged away. A searing pain in her side told her she had been hit by some kind of energy weapon. As darkness closed in around her, Zara's last thought was of the family she might never see again. Consciousness returned slowly, accompanied by a throbbing ache that seemed to permeate Zara's entire body. She blinked, trying to make sense of her surroundings. Gone was the familiar interior of the Curiosity, replaced by a cold, sterile cell. The walls pulsed with the same eerie blue light she had seen on the alien structure. "You're awake. Good." The voice was harsh and guttural, speaking accented but understandable English. Zara turned to see one of her captors standing outside the energy barrier that served as a door to her cell. The alien was tall and vaguely insectoid, with a chitinous exoskeleton and multifaceted eyes. It regarded her with what Zara could only interpret as cold disdain. "Where am I?" Zara demanded, her voice hoarse. "What have you done with my crew?" The alien made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. "You are property now, human. Your crew has been processed and distributed to various buyers across the hegemony. You should be grateful. Your skills as a scientist make you valuable. You will fetch a high price." Zara felt sick. "We're not property. We're sentient beings. You can't just—" Silence. The alien snapped, its mandibles cracking in irritation. "You will learn your place soon enough. For now, rest. The assessment process begins tomorrow." With that, the alien turned and stalked away, leaving Zara alone with her thoughts and the growing horror of her situation. The assessment process, as Zara quickly learned, was a euphemism for a series of brutal tests designed to evaluate her physical and mental capabilities. Day after day, she was subjected to grueling physical exertion, complex problem-solving tasks, and invasive medical examinations. Through it all, she clung to the hope that somehow, somewhere, humanity would learn of their fate and come to the rescue. But as weeks turned into months, that hope began to fade. Zara found herself being shuttled from one alien world to another, put on display like livestock at auctions where potential buyers examined her with cold, calculating eyes. She saw other humans, and members of countless alien species she had never encountered before, all reduced to the same degrading status of property. It was on one such world, a sweltering jungle planet on the fringes of what the slavers called the hegemony, that Zara's life changed once again. She had been purchased by a wealthy merchant, a member of the same insectoid species that had initially captured her. The merchant, whom she came to know as Kraz-Tik, seemed to take a particular interest in her scientific knowledge. Zara found herself put to work in Kraz-Tik's sprawling compound, tasked with analyzing strange flora and fauna from across the galaxy. It was a cruel mockery of the career she had once loved, her passion for discovery twisted into a tool for her captor's profit. Months passed, and Zara's spirit began to waver. The constant degradation, the loss of her freedom, the knowledge of what had become of her crew, it all weighed on her, threatening to crush what remained of her humanity. But even in the depths of despair, a small spark of defiance refused to be extinguished. That spark was fanned into a flame the day Kraz-Tik returned from a business trip with a new wife. Zilara was unlike any of the insectoid aliens Zara had encountered. She was tall and willowy, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Her large, almond-shaped eyes held a depth of emotion that Zara found startling after so long among the coldly logical Kraz-Tik and his kind. From the moment Zilara arrived at the compound, she seemed fascinated by Zara. She would often come to the laboratory where Zara worked, watching her with those strange, luminous eyes. At first, Zara was wary, expecting some new form of torment or exploitation. But Zilara was different. She asked questions, not with the imperious demand of a master to a slave, but with genuine curiosity. She seemed horrified when Zara explained the concept of slavery, her delicate features contorting in disgust. "This is not right," Zilara said one day, her voice a musical whisper. "Your people, they are like mine, sentient, intelligent. To treat you this way, it goes against all that is good and just in the universe." Zara felt a glimmer of hope for the first time in months. "Your people don't practice slavery." Zilara shook her head, her luminescent skin rippling with the movement. "No, we believe in the sanctity of all sentient life. I did not know the full extent of what Kraz-Tik's business entailed when I agreed to this union. Had I known..." She trailed off, her eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and determination. Zara found herself drawn to this alien woman, sensing a potential ally in a universe that had shown her nothing but cruelty for so long. As the days passed, Zilara spent more and more time with Zara, learning about Earth and humanity. In turn, she shared stories of her own people, the Lumizar, a race of empaths who valued harmony and understanding above all else. Zara began to see Zilara not just as a potential savior, but as a friend, perhaps the first true friend she had made since her enslavement. It was during one of these conversations that Zilara made a startling proposal. "I'm going to help you escape," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You and as many others as we can manage. My people have ships, technology that can evade the hegemony's sensors. We can get you to safety, back to your own kind." Zara's heart raced with a mixture of hope and fear. But the risk, if we're caught, the punishment. Zilara's luminescent skin pulsed with determination. "Some things are worth any risk, Zara. The freedom of sentient beings, the fight against injustice. These are causes my people have dedicated themselves to for millennia. I cannot stand by and watch this atrocity continue." As Zara looked into Zilara's eyes, she saw the same fire, the same defiance that had once burned within herself, and in that moment she made a decision. Whatever the cost, whatever the danger, she would fight. For her freedom, for the memory of her lost crew, and for the chance to bring the truth of the hegemony's crimes to the rest of humanity. The spark of resistance that had nearly been extinguished flared to life once more. With Zylara by her side, Zara began to plan. The road ahead would be fraught with peril, but for the first time in a long time, she dared to hope. Freedom beckoned, and Zara Novak was ready to answer its call, the unexpected ally. The twin suns of Arkresh cast an eerie purple glow across the sprawling compound as Zara crouched in the shadows, her heart pounding. Months of careful planning had led to this moment, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Freedom was tantalizingly close, but one wrong move could spell disaster. Remember, Zylara's voice whispered in her mind, the Lumizar's telepathic abilities bridging the distance between them. The quantum disruptor will only work for 30 seconds. We must time this perfectly. Zara nodded, though she knew Zylara couldn't see her. The alien device clutched in her trembling hands was their key to escaping the hegemony's supposedly impenetrable slave collars. It was a marvel of technology that would make even the most advanced human scientists weep with envy. As she waited for Zylara's signal, Zara's mind drifted to the events that had led to this moment. The past few months had been a whirlwind of secret meetings, coded messages, and heart-stopping close calls. Zylara had proven to be not just an ally, but a true friend, risking everything to help Zara and the other slaves. The plan they had concocted was audacious, to say the least. Not content with simply escaping themselves, they aimed to free as many slaves as possible and strike a blow against the very foundation of the hegemony's power. It was a plan that would make the greatest war strategists of human history proud. A sudden commotion from the main building snapped Zara back to the present. Alarms blared, and the compound erupted into chaos. Zylara's diversion had worked perfectly. Now, Zylara's mental voice commanded. Zara sprang into action, activating the quantum disruptor. The air around her crackled with invisible energy, and she felt the oppressive weight of the slave collar fall away. For the first time in over a year, she was truly free. But there was no time to savor the moment. Zara raced towards the slave quarters, her enhanced strength, a gift from her captor's genetic modifications, allowing her to move with inhuman speed. She had mere minutes to free as many slaves as possible before the hegemony's security forces regrouped. As she reached the first holding cell, Zara saw a sight that made her blood boil. Dozens of beings from various species were crammed into the small space, their eyes wide with fear and confusion at the sudden commotion. "Listen to me," Zara shouted, her voice hoarse with emotion. "We're breaking out. When I deactivate your collars, run for the south gate. There's a ship waiting. This is our only chance." She activated the quantum disruptor once more, feeling a surge of triumph as the slaves' collars clattered to the ground. The looks of disbelief and hope on their faces nearly brought her to tears. As the freed slaves streamed out of the cell, Zara moved on to the next and the next. With each passing moment, the risk grew. She could hear the shouts of the guards growing closer, the sound of energy weapons discharging. Just as she freed the last group, a massive explosion rocked the compound. Zara stumbled, nearly dropping the precious quantum disruptor. Through the smoke and debris, she saw a figure approaching. Krastik, his chitinous armor gleaming in the purple light of the twin suns. "You," he roared, mandibles clicking in fury. "I should have known you'd be behind this, you ungrateful human filth." Zara stood her ground, years of pent-up rage and defiance surging through her. "We are not property, Krastik. We are sentient beings with the right to freedom. Your entire empire is built on a lie, and we're going to tear it down." Krastik lunged forward, his clawed hands reaching for her throat. But Zara was ready. All those months of forced labor and genetic enhancement had prepared her for this moment. She dodged with preternatural speed, using Krastik's momentum against him. The ensuing battle was like something out of an epic holovid. Zara, the enhanced human, versus Krastik, the hegemony slaver. They traded blows that would have shattered ordinary beings, each fueled by the righteousness of their cause. As they fought, Zara caught glimpses of the chaos unfolding around them. Freed slaves were overwhelming the guards through sheer numbers. In the distance, she saw flashes of light that could only be Zylara, using her species' innate energy manipulation abilities to devastating effect. Just when it seemed Krastik might gain the upper hand, a brilliant burst of energy struck him from behind. He crumpled to the ground, revealing Zylara standing there, her iridescent skin glowing with power. "Zara, we must go now," Zylara shouted, her mental voice simultaneously echoing in Zara's mind. Together, they raced towards the south gate, dodging energy blasts and leaping over debris. The ship Zylara had promised was there, a sleek, organic-looking vessel unlike anything in the human fleet. As they boarded, Zara looked back at the compound one last time. The scene was one of glorious chaos. Hundreds of freed slaves were pouring through the gate, while the hegemony's once mighty defenses lay in ruins. The ship's engines hummed to life, and Zara felt the familiar lurch of acceleration. As they broke atmosphere, evading the few hegemony ships that had managed to launch, she allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. They had done it. Against all odds, they had struck a blow for freedom that would resonate across the galaxy. But their journey was far from over. As the stars streaked by outside the viewport, Zara turned to Zylara, her eyes shining with determination. "What's our next move?" she asked. Zylara's skin rippled with a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, and fierce determination. "We make for the coalition of free worlds. Your people need to know what's happening out here, Zara. The hegemony has been operating in the shadows for too long. It's time to bring this war into the light." Zara nodded, her mind already racing with plans. She thought of Earth, of the family she had left behind. They deserved to know the truth, to understand the threat that lurked in the dark corners of the galaxy. As the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, Zara made a silent vow. She would not rest until the hegemony was brought to justice, until every slave was freed. The human spirit of resilience and defiance that had kept her going through her captivity now burned brighter than ever. The universe had no idea what was coming. Humanity, with allies like the Lumizar at their side, was about to show the hegemony exactly what they were capable of when pushed too far. The war for galactic freedom had begun, and Zara Novak was ready to lead the charge. The Quantum Rebellion. The Lumizar ship, christened Starborn Phoenix, hurtled through the quantum slipstream, its organic hull pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Inside, Zara Novak stood before a holographic display, her eyes blazing with determination as she addressed the motley crew of freed slaves. "Listen up, everyone," she called out, her voice carrying the weight of hard-won leadership. "We're about to attempt something that's never been done before. We're going to hack the hegemony's quantum network." A murmur of excitement and fear rippled through the gathered beings. Species from across the galaxy, once enemies or strangers, now united in their quest for freedom. Zara felt a swell of pride as she looked at them. This was the true face of sentient cooperation, forged in the crucible of shared adversity. Zylara stepped forward, her iridescent skin shimmering with barely contained energy. "What we're about to attempt is incredibly dangerous," she said, her mental voice resonating in everyone's minds. "The quantum network is the backbone of the hegemony's power. It controls their faster-than-light communications, their slave collars, even their planetary defense systems. If we can disrupt it, we can bring the hold-down empire to its knees," finished Krell, a burly Kronan warrior whose rocky skin bore the scars of countless battles in the slave pits. Zara nodded, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "Exactly. But to do that, we need to get to the source, the quantum core." She waved her hand, and the holographic display shifted to show a massive space station unlike anything most of them had ever seen. It was a twisted amalgamation of technology and organic matter, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "This is Station Omega," Zara explained, "the heart of the hegemony's quantum network. Our intel suggests that the quantum core is housed deep within its central hub. Getting there won't be easy, but I have a plan." As Zara laid out the details of their audacious scheme, she couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. Months ago, she had been a slave, stripped of hope and dignity. Now, she stood at the helm of a rebellion that could reshape the galaxy. The plan was daring, bordering on insane. They would use the Starborn Phoenix's unique abilities to mimic a hegemony slave transport, allowing them to dock with Station Omega. Once inside, they would split into teams, one to create a diversion, one to slice into the station's systems, and a final team led by Zara and Zylara to reach the quantum core itself. As the crew dispersed to prepare, Zylara approached Zara, her large eyes filled with a mixture of admiration and concern. "You've come so far, Zara," she said softly. "But are you sure you're ready for this? The quantum core, it's not just a machine. It's something more, something our people have only whispered about in legends." Zara placed a hand on Zylara's shoulder, feeling the subtle vibration of energy beneath her alien skin. "I have to be ready," she replied. "For every slave still suffering under the hegemony's rule, for every world living in fear of their ships appearing in the sky. We have a chance to end this, once and for all." Zylara nodded, her skin pulsing with a warm glow that Zara had come to recognize as affection. "Then let us face this challenge together, my friend. May the cosmic harmony guide our path." As the Starborn Phoenix approached Station Omega, tension filled the air. The ship's organic systems pulsed and shifted, reconfiguring its external appearance to match that of a hegemony vessel. Zara held her breath as they transmitted the stolen security codes, praying to whatever cosmic forces might be listening that their deception would hold. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with agonizing slowness, the massive docking bay doors began to open. "We're in," Crow growled, his stony fingers dancing over the ship's controls. "Better move fast. Won't be long before they realize something's off." Zara nodded, adrenaline surging through her veins. "All right, people, you know the plan. Move out." The next few minutes were a blur of controlled chaos. The diversion team, led by Crow, unleashed a series of explosions in the lower levels of the station. Alarms blared, and the sounds of energy weapons and shouted orders filled the air. Meanwhile, Zara, Zylara, and a handful of their most skilled operatives made their way deeper into the heart of Station Omega. The architecture became increasingly bizarre as they progressed, with twisting corridors that seemed to defy the laws of physics and pulsating walls that radiated an unsettling energy. "We're getting close," Zylara whispered, her mental voice tinged with awe and fear. "I can feel the quantum core. It's alive, Zara. Somehow, it's alive." Before Zara could respond, a squad of hegemony guards rounded the corner, their insectoid faces contorted with rage. "Intruders," one of them chittered. "Protect the core." What followed was a firefight unlike anything Zara had ever experienced. Energy blasts ricocheted off the strange, semi-organic walls, and the very air seemed to ripple with quantum distortions. Zara and her team fought with the desperation of those who knew failure meant a fate worse than death. In the midst of the chaos, Zara caught a glimpse of something that made her blood run cold. A familiar figure, striding through the battle with cold purpose. "Kraz-Tik," she hissed, memories of her enslavement flooding back. The hegemony slaver locked eyes with her, mandibles clicking in what might have been a cruel smile. "Did you really think you could hide from us, human?" he called out. "Your pathetic rebellion ends here." Zara felt a surge of rage and defiance. "You're wrong, Kraz-Tik," she shouted back. "This is where it truly begins." With a war cry that echoed through the twisted corridors, Zara charged forward. Her genetically enhanced body moved with inhuman speed and grace, dodging energy blasts and returning fire with deadly accuracy. Zylara was at her side, her Lumizar abilities creating shields of pure energy to protect their allies. The battle raged on, pushing ever closer to the quantum core. Zara could feel it now too, a pulsing, otherworldly presence that seemed to call to her on some primal level. Whatever the core truly was, she knew that reaching it was the key to everything. As they fought their way through the final security checkpoint, Zara found herself face to face with Krastik once more. The hegemony slaver towered over her, his chitinous armor scared but unbroken. "You've led your people to their doom, Zara Novak," he hissed. "The core will destroy you all." Zara stood her ground, her eyes blazing with the fire of human defiance. "Maybe," she replied, "but at least we'll die free." What happened next would be debated and discussed for generations to come. Zara and Krastik clashed in a battle that seemed to transcend the physical realm. As they fought, the quantum distortions around them intensified, reality itself seeming to warp and bend. And then, with a final, desperate lunge, Zara broke through Krastik's defenses. Her hand, glowing with an energy she didn't understand, plunged into the slaver's chest. There was a blinding flash, a scream that echoed across dimensions, and then silence. Zara stood over Krastik's fallen form, her mind reeling from what had just occurred. But there was no time to process it. The quantum core lay before them, a swirling vortex of energy that defied description. "Zara," Zylara called out, her voice filled with urgency. "We have to act now. The core is destabilizing." With a deep breath, Zara stepped forward. Whatever happened next would change the course of galactic history forever. As she reached out to touch the quantum core, she sent out a silent prayer, not just for herself and her allies, but for every being who had ever suffered under the yoke of oppression. The moment her fingers made contact with the swirling energy, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath. And then, with a soundless explosion of light and power, everything changed. The quantum network that had been the source of the hegemony's power for millennia shattered. Across the galaxy, slave collars fell lifeless to the ground. Defense systems crumbled, and in the minds of billions of beings, a single message echoed: "You are free." As the light faded and Zara's vision cleared, she found herself floating in a sea of stars. Zylara was beside her, along with the rest of their team. Somehow, impossibly, they were alive. What happened?" Zara managed to ask, her voice weak with exhaustion. Zyara's skin pulsed with a riot of colors, her eyes wide with wonder. "You did it, Zara. You merged with the quantum core. You've become something more." As the implications of Zyara's words sank in, Zara realized she could feel it, a connection to the very fabric of space-time itself. With a thought, she could see across the galaxy, could feel the jubilation of countless newly freed slaves, the panic of the crumbling hegemony. "It's not over," Zara said, her voice resonating with newfound power. "The hegemony will try to regroup, to reclaim what they've lost. We need to be ready." Zylara nodded, a fierce smile spreading across her face. "Then let's get to work. The real revolution is just beginning." As they made their way back to the starborn Phoenix, Zara knew that the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. But for the first time in recent memory, hope burned bright across the galaxy. Humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with, and with allies like the Lumizar at their side, they were ready to forge a new future, one of freedom, justice, and cosmic harmony. The age of the quantum rebellion had begun, and Zara Novak, once a slave, now stood at its helm, ready to lead the charge into a brighter tomorrow. The cosmic nexus. The galactic landscape had been irrevocably altered in the wake of what was now being called the quantum rebellion. Zara Novak, once a human exobiologist turned slave, now stood at the epicenter of a cosmic revolution. Her merger with the quantum core had transformed her into something beyond mortal comprehension, a being of pure energy and infinite potential. As the starborn phoenix glided through the shimmering quantum slipstream, Zara focused her newfound abilities, projecting a holographic representation of herself in the ship's command center. Her form flickered with strands of code and bursts of stellar energy, a visual representation of her transcendent state. The hegemony's fall has created a power vacuum, she addressed the assembled crew, her voice resonating with harmonics that seemed to echo from the far corners of the universe. But an even greater threat looms on the horizon, one that could unravel the very fabric of reality itself. Zilara, her iridescent skin pulsing with concern, stepped forward. "What have you seen, Zara? What could be worse than the hegemony?" Zara's holographic form expanded, encompassing the entire room in a cosmic display. Stars, galaxies, and dimensions unfurled before the awestruck crew. "I've glimpsed beyond the veil of our universe," Zara explained, her words carrying the weight of cosmic truth. "There exists a place called the cosmic nexus, a confluence of realities where the laws of physics break down, and something there is stirring, something ancient and hungry." The holographic display shifted, showing a writhing mass of tentacles and eyes, a being of such cosmic horror that several crew members recoiled in fear. "The entity," Zara continued, her voice grim. "A multidimensional being that feeds on entire universes. It's been trapped in the Nexus for eons, but the shockwave from our quantum rebellion has weakened its prison. If it breaks free, it won't just be our galaxy at stake, but every reality in the multiverse." Krell, the Cronan warrior, slammed his rocky fist on a nearby console. "So what do we do? How can we fight something like that?" Zora's holographic form condensed, returning to a more human-like appearance. "We forge an alliance unlike any the galaxy has ever seen. Humans, Lumizar, former slaves, even those hegemony worlds willing to embrace change. We need to combine our technologies, our unique abilities, to create a weapon capable of sealing the cosmic nexus." A tall order came a new voice. All heads turned to see Dr. Elara Venn, a brilliant human physicist who had been part of the original Curiosity crew. She had survived the hegemony's slave pits, her mind sharpened to a razor's edge by the crucible of captivity. "We're talking about manipulating the fundamental forces of the universe. It's never been done before." Zora's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then we'll be the first. Elara, I need you to lead a team in developing what I'm calling the Harmony Drive. It will tap into the quantum entanglement between all sentient beings, creating a unified field of consciousness." Ziyara's eyes widened in understanding. "A weaponized form of my people's telepathic abilities. Brilliant, but dangerous." "Indeed," Zara nodded, "which is why we'll need to establish the Cosmic Concordat, a galactic alliance with a shared neural network. Every willing participant will link their minds, creating a collective intelligence powerful enough to challenge the entity." The implications were staggering. The crew exchanged looks of awe and trepidation. What Zara was proposing would forever change the course of galactic civilization. "There's more," Zara continued. "We need to unlock the secrets of dark matter manipulation. The entity feeds on traditional matter and energy, but a dark matter shield might be our best defense." Dr. Venn's eyes lit up with scientific excitement. "I've been working on theories about dark matter propulsion. If we could adapt that technology." "Exactly," Zara smiled. "And we'll need to combine it with Lumizar energy manipulation techniques. Zylara, you'll work with Elara on this. Your people's understanding of quantum harmonics will be crucial." As the crew dispersed to begin their monumental tasks, Zylara approached Zara's holographic form. "There's something you're not telling them, isn't there?" she asked, her mental voice tinged with worry. Zara's image flickered, a moment of vulnerability shining through her cosmic facade. "Creating the Harmony Drive, linking every mind in the galaxy, it will require an anchor point. A being to stand at the center of the neural storm, channeling the collective will of trillions." Zilara's eyes widened in understanding. "You. It has to be you." Zara nodded sullenly. "The quantum core's energy flows through me. I'm the only one who can withstand the psychic backlash. But the cost, she paused, her form shimmering with emotion. I may lose myself, Zylara. Everything that makes me human could be burned away in the process. Zylara reached out, her hand passing through Zara's holographic form. We'll find another way. I won't let you sacrifice yourself. If it means saving not just our universe, but all universes, it's a price I'm willing to pay. Zara's voice was resolute, echoing with the determination that had defined humanity's greatest moments. As the starborn phoenix soared towards the galactic core, where construction of the massive Nexus array would soon begin, Zara gazed out at the stars. Each point of light represented billions of lives, countless stories of struggle and triumph. She had started this journey as one woman seeking freedom, and now found herself the linchpin in a battle for the fate of all existence. The coming days would see the formation of the greatest alliance in cosmic history. Species that had warred for millennia would put aside their differences in the face of annihilation. The cosmic concordat would reshape societies, spurring leaps in technology and consciousness that would have once been thought impossible. And at the heart of it all stood Zara Novak, no longer just human, no longer bound by the limits of flesh and bone, but a cosmic force unto herself. The entity stirred in the darkness between realities, ravenous and patient. But humanity, with all its flaws and all its potential, was ready to stand against the coming storm. The battle for the cosmic nexus loomed, and the fate of all universes hung in the balance. But if there was one truth Zara had learned in her incredible journey from slave to savior, it was this: never underestimate the power of sentient beings united for a common cause. In the face of cosmic horror, they would light a beacon of hope that would shine across all realities. The universe held its breath, waiting to see if that light would be enough to hold back the encroaching darkness. The multiversal singularity. The Nexus array hung in the void between galaxies, a testament to the unified will of countless civilizations. Its vast, fractal structure pulsed with dark matter currents and quantum filaments, a cosmic megastructure unlike anything the universe had ever seen. At its heart stood Zara Novak, her form a swirling vortex of energy and consciousness, the anchor point for trillions of minds linked through the Harmony Drive. The entity approaches. Zara's voice resonated across the neural network, reaching every being connected to the cosmic concordat. Prepare for multiversal convergence. On the command deck of the starborn Phoenix, now upgraded into a city-sized battle station, Dr. Elara Ven's fingers danced across holographic interfaces. Harmony Drive at full power. Dark matter shields holding at 100%. Zilara, her iridescent skin crackling with barely contained energy, stood at the center of a group of Lumizar elders. Their combined psychic might help stabilize the quantum fluctuations caused by the approaching cosmic horror. Zara, Zylara's mental voice cut through the psychic maelstrom, the strain on your consciousness. It's reaching critical levels. We need to act now. Through the Harmony Drive, every being in the cosmic concordat could feel it, the oppressive weight of the entity's approach. Reality itself seemed to warp and twist, dimensions folding in on themselves as the barrier between universes began to crumble. Zara's consciousness expanded, touching the minds of every sentient being in their galaxy and beyond. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder with former hegemony slaves, united in purpose. Lumizar telepaths joined their abilities with Cronan warriors, while hyper-advanced AIs worked in concert with beings of pure energy. Citizens of the multiverse, Zara's voice echoed across realities. The moment has come. Focus your will, your hopes, your very essence on the Nexus array. Together, we create the multiversal singularity. As one, trillions of minds poured their consciousness into the Harmony Drive. The Nexus array blazed with unimaginable power, dark matter swirling around it in complex geometries that defied conventional physics. A beam of pure thought, infinite in its complexity, shot forth into the rupturing fabric of spacetime. And then it arrived. The entity burst through the dimensional barriers, a writhing mass of tentacles and maws and impossibly angled geometries. Its mere presence caused nearby stars to flicker and die, reality unraveling in its wake. This was entropy personified, the heat death of the universe given form and hungry purpose. But humanity and its allies were ready. The multiversal singularity met the entity head-on, a cascade of concentrated willpower and dark matter manipulation. The two forces clashed in a battle that transcended physical comprehension. Entire galaxies were born and died in microseconds within the reality-warping conflict. On the starborn Phoenix, alarms blared as systems were pushed beyond their limits. The harmony drive is overloading. Dr. Venn shouted over the cacophony. We're losing cohesion across multiple sectors. Ziyara's eyes blazed with determination. Reroute all power to the primary conduits. We cannot falter now. Through it all, Zara stood as the eye of the storm, her consciousness stretched across dimensions. She could feel the entity's alien mind pressing against her own, a billion years of malevolent hunger threatening to overwhelm her. In that moment, suspended between heartbeats of eternity, Zara made her choice. I am Zara Novak. Her voice resonated with the strength of every human who had ever faced impossible odds. I have known slavery and freedom, despair and hope. I am humanity's drive to explore, to connect, to transcend our limitations. And I will not yield. With a final, reality-shattering surge, Zara poured the entirety of her being into the harmony drive. Her physical form dissolved, becoming one with the multiversal singularity. The collected will of trillions of minds, focused through her sacrifice, struck the entity with the force of 100 billion supernovae. The cosmic horror reeled, its unfathomable form beginning to fracture under the assault. Cracks spread across its non-Euclidean surface, leaking the trapped essence of consumed universes. The entity thrashed in its death throes, each movement threatening to tear reality apart. Now, Dr. Venn's voice cut through the chaos. Initiate the Nexus Seal. Zoilara and her fellow Lumizar focused their combined psychic might, guiding the dark matter streams generated by the Nexus Array. The entity, wounded and weakened, found itself being compressed, forced back through the dimensional rift from which it had emerged. With a silent scream that echoed across realities, the cosmic horror was cast back into the void between universes. The Nexus Array pulsed one final time, sealing the multiversal boundaries with a permanence that would last until the end of time itself. In the aftermath, an eerie silence fell across the galaxy. Slowly, beings of all species began to disengage from the harmony drive, their minds reeling from the cosmic battle they had just experienced. On the starborn Phoenix, Zailara rushed to the chamber where Zara had stood as the anchor point. But where her friend had once been, there was now only a swirling vortex of quantum energy. Zara. Zailara called out, her voice choked with emotion. Zara, please, come back to us. For a long moment, there was no response. Then, slowly, the energy began to coalesce. It took shape, forming a familiar silhouette that solidified into Zara Novak. But she was changed, her body now a seamless blend of flesh and cosmic energy, her eyes holding the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. I'm here, Zara said, her voice carrying harmonics of multiple dimensions. I'm everywhere. As news of their victory spread across the galaxy, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. The cosmic Concordat had faced the greatest threat in the history of the multiverse and emerged victorious. But the cost had been high, and the changes wrought by their unity would reshape civilization for eons to come. In the days that followed, Zara found herself navigating her new existence. She was at once singular and infinite, able to project her consciousness across vast distances and even peer into alternate timelines. The quantum energy that now formed her being granted her insights into the very nature of reality itself. What now? Zailara asked as they stood on the observation deck of the starborn Phoenix, gazing out at the star-studded expanse of their hard-won peace. Zara smiled, her form shimmering with possibilities. Now we rebuild, we explore, we use the knowledge and unity we've gained to create a better multiverse for all sentient beings. She turned to face the assembled leaders of the cosmic concordat, humans, Lumizar, former hegemony species, and 100 other races, all looking to her for guidance. The age of division is over, Zara declared, her words resonating with the weight of cosmic truth. We stand on the brink of a new era, the age of harmonic ascension. Together, we will unlock the secrets of the multiverse, elevate consciousness to new heights, and ensure that never again will cosmic horrors threaten our existence. As cheers erupted from the assembled beings, Zara felt the infinite potential of their future unfurling before her. From humble beginnings as a curious exobiologist, she had become something far greater, a cosmic guardian, a multiversal nexus of hope and unity. The stars beckoned, countless realities waited to be explored, and humanity, standing proud alongside its galactic allies, was ready to take its place as shepherds of a new cosmic order. The multiversal singularity had been born, and with it, the promise of an eternal harmony that would echo across all of creation.